Hello and welcome to another video here at AV Forums. This time we're taking you through our recommended picture settings for the LG OLED 65 G6 Ultra HD 4K TV. Now before we start, we should just point out that these settings are only our recommendations. We can't guarantee they'll make your picture better. In fact, in some cases it might even make it worse. But these are certainly the settings that we think in general would improve your picture quality on your G6, so they're certainly worth trying out, but we can't guarantee they'll make your picture better. Okay, first of all we need to go into the settings menu, so press the settings button on the remote control. Little tip here, if you just hold it down it brings you straight into the picture menu, and then quickly go to aspect ratio, make sure that just scan is on so you're getting all the image and nothing's being overscanned and not losing any high resolution detail. Okay, picture mode settings. Now there are a number of different picture modes. We're going to be using ISF Expert Bright Room and ISF Expert Dark Room. As the name suggests, one is intended for a room with ambient light, a bright room, basically a daytime setting, and the other one is intended for a dark room, obviously a nighttime setting when you're watching TV at night, either with the lights out or with minimal lighting in the room. So starting with the dark room setting, we've got the OLED light set to 24, contrast is at 82, any higher than that it starts to clip, so use 82 for the contrast setting, brightness 50, horizontal sharpness 0, vertical sharpness 0, color at its default setting of 50 and tint at its default setting of 0. Under expert controls, dynamic contrast off, super resolution off, normal color gamut, that's basically the closest to the industry standard of Rec 709, edge enhancer off, color filter off, gamma of 2.4, under white balance, under the 2-point control, we're using a setting of 8 for red and minus 12 for blue on the high, and that basically gave us a very accurate grayscale, so that's all you should need to do. Now obviously, as I said at the beginning, we can't guarantee this will improve your picture because every TV is different, even the same model can be different, but certainly give it a try and see what you think. And then under color management system, some tweaking here which I'll just quickly run through. Overall it's pretty accurate out of the box, but there were some minor adjustments that we made. So for red, we've got -3, 0 and -2. For green, 0, 0, 3. For blue, 5, 3, 4. For cyan, 0, 3, 4. Magenta, 3, -7 and 2. And finally for yellow, 0, 4 and 2. Moving on to the picture options. Here we've basically got noise reduction off, MPEG noise reduction off, black level set to low, motion eye care off, and true motion we've got off. Basically if you're watching any film-based content, basically films or episodic TV dramas, always make sure true motion is off, otherwise it looks like video. However, if you are watching video-based content, particularly say sports broadcasting, then feel free to experiment with it, but definitely for film-based content we always recommend turning it off. Okay. That's the dark room nighttime setting. Now we'll move on to the bright room daytime setting. OLED light's now at 40, contrast is at 82 still, brightness is at 54, horizontal sharpness and vertical sharpness still at 0, color 50, tint 0. Under expert controls, dynamic contrast off, super resolution off, normal color gamut, edge enhancer off, color filter off. We're using a gamma of 2.2 this time. Under white balance, similar grayscale performance, so in fact the same settings as there were for the dark room setting, 8 for red, -12 for blue. We actually didn't need to adjust the color management system. The colors are pretty accurate, so we left them as they were for the daytime setting. And then picture options, again, noise reduction off, MPEG noise reduction off, black level low, motion eye care off, and for film-based content, true motion off. So those are the daytime and nighttime settings. We're going to show you the HDR setting now. So we're going to have to change the signal to an HDR signal. But before we do that, just quickly, if you go over to General and then down, you'll see there's HDMI Ultra HD Deep Color. You need to use either HDMI 1 or HDMI 2 on the G6. We've got them both turned on here. We were using HDMI 1, I believe, but we had them both turned on. You need to make sure this is on for any source that's going to use HDR. So any Ultra HD 4K Blu-ray player, for example, any HDR source where you're using HDMI inputs, make sure this is turned on. Okay, now we're going to go and change the setting to an HDR signal, and we'll take you through our recommended settings for that. Okay, now we're sending an HDR signal, so we will go back into the settings menu. As you can see, it's detected the signal. It's now defaulted into the HDR modes. We've got a number of different HDR modes: vivid, bright, and standard. Basically, vivid and bright are not particularly accurate. So of the three options, HDR standard is by far the most accurate, so we'd recommend using that one. The OLED light defaults to 100 on detection of an HDR signal. Same for contrast, that defaults to 100. Brightness at 50, sharpness at 0, color at 50, tint at 0. If you go to our expert controls, dynamic contrast off, super resolution off. We're using color gamut of wide now. You want to use the widest color space for HDR Ultra HD content, so that's wide. Edge enhancer off, color filter off. Gamma is now grayed out. And the same goes for if you go into white balance, basically most of it's grayed out, so we'll leave that as it is. And the same goes for the color management system. We're not going to change that. Picture options, noise reduction off, MP noise reduction off, black level low. Those two are grayed out. And again, true motion off for any film-based content. So those are our recommended settings for an HDR mode. We're now going to switch to a Dolby Vision signal, and we'll show you the settings for that. Now we're sending a Dolby Vision signal, so we'll go back into the settings menu. And as you can see, it's detected Dolby Vision and gone into Dolby Vision picture mode. Again, there are a number of different picture modes. There's vivid, movie bright, and movie dark. Dolby actually recommend themselves that you use movie dark for the most accurate setting, so we're using that one. This time, OLED light defaults to 50, contrast to 100, brightness to 50, sharpness to 0, color to 50. Over in the expert controls, most of it is grayed out. The dynamic contrast off, super resolution off, color gamut is now grayed out. Edge enhancer off, color filter off, gamma again grayed out. And the same goes when you go into the color temperature controls. And then same for color management. We're leaving that alone. And picture options, noise reduction off, these are all grayed out. And again, with film-based content, true motion off. And there you have it. Those are our settings for a day, a nighttime mode, HDR mode, and also Dolby Vision. And thanks for watching.